It's 2 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? I don't know where my kids are. Well, my son's upstairs. Do you remember that, Jason? Maybe you're not old enough. When I was young, at 9 o'clock on TV, a thing would come on. It would say, "It's 9 o'clock. It's 9 p.m. Do you know where your children are?"
No.
Well, I can tell you
Before
where you're
my
at right
time.
now. You're on the RCGroups podcast, broadcast, Hangout, all these things. And we're joined by Jason Cole. What's happening, Jason Cole?
Not much, man. Having a good time. Enjoying
Well,
the last of the 70-degree weather while you
I,
change your earphones.
I know it. So first of all, let's talk about what we're going to talk about. Then we're going to launch into personal aspects of Nashville life, and then we'll talk. Well, that'll lead us right into this. So
So
Jason
wait,
and
wait, wait,
I,
wait. We talk about the things we're going to talk about, and then we talk about the things that we talked about that we're going to talk about.
it's a
And then we
recipe.
close with the things that we talked about that we've talked about.
Now, here's what we won't do. While we are following that recipe, the recipe we will not follow is where we say the thing we're talking about over and over, like in 8 different ways. Have you heard that on YouTube where they like say the same thing over repeatedly?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it gets annoying.
I want to throttle them. But today we're going to talk about Jason. Well, last week we talked about the truck. And so Jason had not yet seen the truck. And
I've given it initials, by the way.
Oh, well, let's not go there yet.
Oh, okay.
But put it in your pocket. So then I needed some photos of some airplanes, and Jason had just had a flight or so on the Timber X. So I said, well, bring that and go to the field. We'll take some photos, and then we'll go eat lunch, and I'll take us in my truck so you can ride in it, which I have pictures of the Timber and the truck. I didn't take pictures of another thing. Now, Jason, are you going to discuss your A-B flights on the other 2 airplanes?
I'm planning on it.
Well, we A-B'd a couple of other airplanes, and
Yep.
I'm not seeing any live viewers on here.
I'm seeing all of them.
Are you? I'm not seeing that number
They are
anywhere.
there. Chat's going strong.
Okay.
What's up, everybody? Be careful. Astute fan he's driving.
Well, I won't worry about it then if it's rock and rolling. I will log into youtube.com so I can go check out the live broadcast. So if you're watching this non-live, if you subscribe to us and sign up for alerts, you will, anytime we go live, sometimes we go live for special announcements, then you'll be able to join us and be in the live chat like Matt RC, Brian Chambers, SDUT fan. What does that mean, Jason?
I'm not sure.
SDUTE fan, Daniel Bellegardian, and Mark Dibble. It's the craziest names on earth today in the live chat. What's next? So we're going to talk about the 2 airplanes that Jason brought to the field, because everyone likes to, if he brings one, inevitably someone will ask, how do you like it compared to the other? So Jason brought them both, and he flew it, and I watched it, and we both gave our opinions afterwards, and we're going to talk about that here. You know what we should do, Jace, is pull up the, I never call you Jace except on the podcast, but we should pull up the reviews on each one of these planes, and then when we talk about them, we'll actually have a reference to look at.
We can do that.
So now we're going to launch into, hey, what's happening? And what's happening is last night, I don't know about you, Jason, but I got all the dogs, the cat, my son, my wife, and we all got into the basement because a tornado went through our neighborhood.
I saw you do that. I didn't think any tornadoes landed, did they?
No, none came down, but they had tornadic activity, and it was like very deadly serious. Like the sirens were going on, and the people on TV were telling us to take cover.
Well, you know what I did get mad because we were supposed to watch The Masked Singer on television, right? Celebrities get in masks and costumes and they sing and you try to guess who they are. We were all excited to go watch that and then turn it on and it's nothing but the daggum weather lady on the news channel. The whole show, they just ruined the entire episode of that. Jason, for a little bit of rain and some thunder.
They're trying to save lives, man.
They ain't doing crap.
It was breaking news.
Lives. It's not breaking news. Put it on the internet if people want to see it. Don't cover up programming and television shows that people are looking forward to watching to say, hey, guys, it's raining outside.
Like my daughter who was like, what? And I was like, get in a closet before you get sucked out of the roof of this house and into
they
the
keep
sky.
crying wolf. It's like they're crying wolf, right? Like nothing happened. It wasn't a big deal.
You can't predict a tornado, man.
It really didn't warrant. You can see when they're up and then warn people, hey, this is in your area.
Not at night. I
Not
mean,
that,
like,
oh, there's a potential that something could possibly 50% less happen. It just doesn't work. I don't know. I was just frustrated.
Were you in town the day of tornadoes in Nashville when like 8 tornadoes went down Charlotte Avenue and then hit downtown?
I don't know if I was here when that happened.
That was in the 90s. I was in the front yard watching them. I didn't realize where they were, but I was on Woodlawn Drive and they were on Charlotte, going up Charlotte, and they went straight downtown. It was crazy. And then people like have footage from buildings of tornadoes just going in front of giant skyscrapers.
Well, they ding your phone. You know, there's plenty of ways to warn people, and you can look outside and hear, listen, it sounds pretty crazy outside. You should probably take cover.
Well, I don't want to bore everyone with weather, but Jason, did you know last night's rain was the most rain in the history of Nashville in that time frame?
That's crazy. Well,
we thought it was going to,
because I was here when it flooded, like major flooded, like into the city from the Cumberland River, and that was like
3 to 4 days of raining.
Yeah,
and so this was almost flood level in the backyard. As far it didn't jump the wall, but it was a long night. I didn't go to sleep.
Wow, man, I slept like a baby.
Damn it, Jason! You live in the dream, man. So I'm waiting for my new ring to come today, Jason, for more secure. We're really good jumping off the RC topic. All right, now we're going to jump back on the RC topic. First, let's see. I've got, I want to talk about this. I haven't even looked at it. I'm going to share my screen. It's fully, I'm really getting good at this whole screen sharing business. Present to everybody. I saw
Utah Utes fan. Sorry, that's where the SD Utes fan comes from. Oh, we just figured it out. He posted.
I saw this morning, and I have not done a story, although I wanted to. And then when we got on to do the broadcast, Jason already knew about this. So it is the Blade Inductrix Switch Air RTF and BNF ready to fly and bind and fly indoor VTOL made easy. So I guess I'm just going to click on that.
It looks pretty cool, man. In the video, I gotta say, for $50, it's like, man, I kind of want one.
So it's basically a quad, but it's been adapted to a wing. And it looks like the rear end is the rear end. Does it move or is it locked into that?
It's locked in. This is the same. So they have a version of this that is the hovercraft, right? It's a quad, and then you can snap it into the hovercraft body and drive it around. This is the same idea, where you can have it as a quadcopter, or then you can adjust the motor angle, snap it into this wing, and now you've got a flying wing and a quad together. It's kind of neat. And for $50, it's ridiculous.
It's what makes Horizon.
It looks like it flies well. Yeah, Lee's asking, does it glide? I don't know if it glides. There's no control surfaces, so it's kind of like pseudo wing, right? You're flying it as a drone, but with forward propulsion. But it's using the drone power system for steering, control, all that thing. There's no physical control surfaces on the wing itself. But it looks awesome in the video. It looks like it flies really well.
Inductrix switch.
I saw the video and I was like, I got excited.
Spinning Inductrix. Boy, I wish we could actually stream video on this thing.
I know.
Well, they go straight up. I mean, it is the indoor dream.
And it hovers. You know, you can still hover it as the wing by pulling back, and so it's kind of a little hybrid deal. But
now, are you telling me that for $59 I get the Inductrix and the wing? I get everything.
Bind and fly. The ready to fly is a couple, like $20 more or something. But yeah, bind and fly, $49.
Oh,
it looks fun, man.
Well, you're the guy for this with your indoor Tuesday night flying.
Yeah, it looks like a blast. I can see a bunch. There's going to be a bunch of those out there. Probably whenever. I don't know. When's it coming out?
Let's go see.
I didn't see the release date. I forgot to look.
Free shipping, pre-order, next shipment, late Feb.
Late February. Yeah, so that's when the Tuesday night things end.
Mm.
But yes, Lee, you can pop it out and fly it as just a regular Inductrix quadcopter.
And it has self-leveling. Does not have panic recovery mode. VTOL. That is awesome.
Wish it was brushless. Yeah, imagine, I don't know how cool it would be or not, but take that idea and turn it into like a ducted 5-inch drone, brushless, with lots of power, 3S, 4S. Could be interesting.
While we're here, let's go check out some news, and then we're going to launch into talking about flying at the airfield. So much for me to not be able to see through with this giant microphone in front of me. The Thunder Tiger Robotics Sea Dragon. I got to say, these are awesome. I just always think, where would I use such a thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's specialized, right? We actually have a ROV section on RCGroups, so it's kind of cool. I was like, well, we don't really put in a lot of news out in that section, so figured I'd do it. But this is, Thunder Tiger Robotics, which is based on, Thunder Tiger, old RC company, and they've been making these a long time. But this one's just awesome. It's got 8 thrust units. It's kind of like an octocopter almost, where everything's on the outside, which allows them to have more payload capacity inside the body. But this thing is like highly maneuverable. You can do all kinds of orientations and attitudes. And
wait, how is it getting transmissions through the water?
Several different ways. I don't think it's tethered right there, but there is a version of it that is tethered.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
But this is, there's ways to get signals through the water.
Very interesting. How much does this dang thing cost? Let's see. I'm going to guess.
They don't have pricing that I've seen yet.
Yeah.
I had to put it in the article. They have kind of a splash page for it. It was just at CES last month, so it's pretty new for this version.
Up to 300 in depth.
Boom.
All right. Nothing any of us are going to buy, but pretty cool.
Nope.
I did upload the story that Hobby King now has 3D printer. Jason, is this the same as our 3D printer or my 3D printer? It looks like the same build to me.
It's close to a C10, but it's not. I mean, it's different, but yeah, it's similar style.
Well, if you're into that, this is not a bad bed to get. I didn't look at the bed dimensions. I wonder if it's 400 by 400.
It is 300 by 300.
Oh, so it's a little smaller.
About 400, which is still big. I mean, mine's 200 by 200. My big one is only, a lot smaller than that. So.
And I'll tell you that I almost never go all the way out on a 400 by 400. So
yeah, it's just nice to have when you need it, if you need it.
And so this released, and now you can go watch and read the whole thing. I watched my video yesterday.
Look at that fancy video in video.
I know. I was like, well, let me see how this turned out. It's
like you're a millennial YouTuber.
I liked it. Well, I have a full-on green screen and the whole deal now.
That's right.
Here, which I can't make work with Google Hangouts for some reason. But I like this look too. With my too much about. I like my bandana around my neck, although that might put me firmly in like a 70-year-old man phase. I don't know. But I do go over. These are not. I was calling these cabanes. I was corrected. Let's go see what I was corrected. What should these be called? Lots of pictures in this one. Cabane struts are between the fuse and the wing. The ones between the wings are called the interplane struts. So I do talk about a lot about the interplane struts and how to deal with the stress that they will give you.
Oh, yeah.
And how to make it through there. And so there's that. It's out.
Good red airplane though, man. It matches your truck.
Yeah, and here.
I like how you got your avatar already changed over.
I'm that guy now.
There it is.
Somebody said, I always enjoy an RCGroups review. Even better to find one during lunch break. And I thought, oh, that's cool. Very nice.
Nice.
So that is up and live. You can go check that out. Tiny Hawk accessories. I haven't even read this, Jason.
Oh man, you should read more.
Tell us all about it.
You must be constipated.
Hey, you know what I did yesterday? I'm not, thankfully, and B. Oh, that reminds me of the story. Can I tell it? I don't know.
Ooh.
My neighbor had back surgery, and I asked his wife, I'm like, how's Tim? Great neighbor. And she goes, well, Jim, Tim can't. She. And I said, what did you just say to me? And she said, Tim can't. She. And I said, okay, what have you done? Because I said, okay, I'm going to call him. And should I call him and then tell him I have faith that he'll be able to she? And she said, I think you should. So he goes, hello. And I said, Tim, I know that tonight you're going to shit all over the place. And you will not have to go to they were going to send him to the emergency room if he didn't shit by midnight that night.
Oh my gosh.
Can you imagine having to go to the emergency room to poop?
Yeah, that's not a fun day. That's something you want to forget.
Well, I gave him
medicine.
My support. Don't get a Docalax, buddy.
Okay, Tiny Hawk accessories.
This podcast is really all over the place.
Brought to you by
Docalax.
Chocolax. So Tiny Hawk accessories. It's just kind of cool that you can customize. It just comes stock white normally, so it's kind of bland. And now you can customize with colors. So I saw one guy post up his with the black frame and the blue props, and it just looked awesome. A lot of guys are like hydro dipping and painting and doing things to kind of customize. This does seem like a more of a skateboardery, like tattooed people that wear nose rings kind of stuff. Not exactly all the time, but people like to be crazy and wild and do that with their drones. So this allows you to get just a little bit crazier than stock. And it's my favorite drone, so I'm always looking for stuff about it. My favorite micro indoor one. So that's why I keep finding cool things to write about with it.
The Tiny Hawk. Hey, I don't know if I told you this.
Race gates are awesome. I was looking for race gates, and these must be brand new. So it's nice size. It's like the right kind of size for Inductrix, like small stuff, tiny whip stuff. But it comes with, well, you can order it with one of 3 different bases. So you get the gate, and then you can choose this magnetic base or suction cups or like spikes for the ground. So if you have some metal in your house, you can magnetically attach it or use suction cup to the windows. It's just kind of neat to be able to put the gates where you want it. Because what I found out with the tiny whoop gates that I ordered, they're just the round gate. They're kind of hard to figure out and, place where you want them. So this is cool that you get some bases that you can actually set them up properly.
I mean, if you're an alternative guy, you could wear these in your ears.
You probably could.
And speaking of that, let's go to Jason's house.
Boom, here's my track. There's the tiny whip gates that I have.
So Jason's wife left town.
That's right.
And Jason set up these things. Boy, little did this guy know when he came up with the words tiny whoop.
Yeah, it would become the Kleenex.
Okay, so we'll watch your video here.
So this is a pretty tight course. This is just using like basically my living room, kitchen, and dining. But
whoa,
they're all through the chairs, under the coffee table.
Your house is very modern.
Around the tunnel. Yeah, people tell us we have like a magazine house now.
Where's your dog?
She's probably in the bedroom, like not giving a crap what's going on.
Yeah, but wow. So how long did it take to get good at this course? Did you just sit down
you just start playing with it. I don't know. I've fluid a bunch of batteries through it, and then you can reverse directions. It's just kind of cool to not, when you're building a course. I talk about this in that article.
Whoa.
That it's good to set up to where you have both right hand and left hand turns, as close to equal as possible, so you can get that practice. And so you can reverse directions if you need to on a course, and that'll change up the directions of the turns. And yeah, Brian, that's just the Betaflight OSD, the center marker. So you can put that, and you can actually adjust it anywhere on the screen based on the camera angle and where you want it to place. It's really helpful for me to line that up to where I want to go, and it allows me to get through gates a lot easier. I think that I found that really, really helpful for my flying. Some people don't use it, but I do.
How often do you crash? A lot
You
or
crash. Well, you crash less and less the more you do it, but then you start crashing more and more because you're trying to push the speed, right? So you could fly at a moderate pace and not crash at all, but then when you really try to get as fast as you can, that's when you're going to end up crashing.
Jason, are these people on drugs?
See what I'm talking about? This is your typical, drone pilot. Got the gauges in his ears, the stickers all over the hat. I don't know what kind of noodle outfit that is.
Stickers on the hat. That's brilliant.
You see the tats on the arms. This is the customizing your body. So you want to customize your drone.
This guy's just talking. You know what, Jason? Might
really go forward. You can see the actual course.
What is that guy even wearing? Rubber bands around his neck?
I don't know.
Jason, I think what might put you right into the scene is a really fat neck tattoo.
Well, they have those armbands that you can put on that make it look like you have tattoos. I can get some of that, and then I can go to these events and like blend in, and then not deal with the pain or whatever of having real tattoos.
Well, really, it's having droopy earlobes. That's what would really put me off.
They probably have. I could probably 3D print some attachments to.
What are you going to do when you're 80 and you got like 3-inch holes in your ears? Not pretty.
So this is kind of the ultimate. This is Tiny Whip headquarters, and they've got this drone course that's unbelievable. Lights and crazy infinity tunnels and hula hooping girls and all this stuff, man. It's insane. So
are you sure this isn't an LSD manufacturing warehouse? Because I'm pretty sure.
It might be in Colorado. I don't know I think it's in Colorado. I haven't looked. It might be legal there.
They're probably listening to narcotic music and
Yep.
Okay, well, I didn't even know this existed.
So I've asked in this thread for people to show us their courses because I went really simple just for my Shang, but then there's other guys building all these light tunnels and hoops and all this stuff and just having a blast. You can get as crazy with it as you please and as your wife allows.
Where is this guy at? Is this like the floor?
This is in England.
There must be a pub. Yeah, that's a restaurant. That's a dance floor.
Yeah.
I want to go to that place.
They set these up and fly. And I think I don't know, indoor micro flying is only gaining in popularity. So that you're seeing these things, getting set up all over the place, all over the world.
Man, this is good for the hobby.
Yeah, buddy. It's cheap, You can get into it relatively, really inexpensive. You can get everything you need for less than the price of just a 5-inch drone.
Look at
none of the other sport here.
But the only problem with this sport is you got to clean your house before you shoot your video.
Yeah, or just go to your buddy's house. Let him clean up.
This course is very limited.
Yeah, that's okay. What's great is you can have a really small room and it can be a tight technical track, but you just set up some obstacles. And the more obstacles you set up, more gates you have to fly through. It doesn't matter that it's small. You actually can, do something and fly through it and still enjoy it. Versus just an open room. This is more of an open room. Like he could add some gates to his ceiling, to his walls, and actually make a fun track instead
open
of
the window,
flying in the middle of the room back and forth. So
I don't believe that dog's alive.
It's a statue. It's bronze.
Nice. Wow, good stuff. All right. The most active drone community on the website. So the other day I was on the phone with Danny from Aero Panda. Wow, I'm impressed that I remember that. And he said, is RCGroups the most active drone community on the web? And Jason Cole answered him with this article. Over 96,000 threads and over 3.6 million posts. That is kind of
a lot of posts, man.
So if anyone asks, be sure to tell them RCGroups. It's there are a lot of people on the ugly Facebook, but you can't go. So today, Jason, I made a post and then somebody replied to it, and then I went to go find it, and Facebook wouldn't let me do it, like it was broken. And then I thought, well, I'll manually go find. I want to see what the guy commented, right?
Mm-hmm.
I never found it ever. And so that would be the difference in RCGroups and Facebook. You could actually go and find your thread and Google it or whatever, as opposed to Facebook, where when it's gone, baby, it's gone.
Well, welcome Chris Jackson from Hagerstown, Maryland. First time on, he says, from Paces Club. Welcome, buddy.
He's a longtime listener, first time viewer.
You win the prize.
So we've talked about all this stuff. So now we're going to jump off of this, and I'm going to jump over to a new screen share.
Share that screen.
Let's see. Okay, that's wrong.
Talking about the field.
I'm going to go here and present to everyone.
There it is. I've been flying the heck out of the Timber X.
So Jason not only brought the Timber X, but he let me fly it too. And this was the first time I ever saw it in the sky doing what it does. So
what do you think? First time thoughts?
Okay, I'll start out. First of all, my history starts at Hobby Lobby, where we started getting 3D airplanes in the early days. And I'll turn this off for now. And so in the early days, 3D airplanes were really coupled poorly, and flat turns really were a lot of work. And so then as time progressed and we got more and more airplanes through the door, and ultimately one day it became Jason, because Jason didn't work there at the time, but we'd go out and fly them, and then we would start learning what was good and what was coupled and what flew well. And that leads us all to today, where I'm used to profile planes for 3D needs that aren't coupled at all, that you put it in a knife edge and they just do it, because everyone designed until they designed all the bad points out of these planes. So then you go to an airplane like this. So I'm not going to harp on profiles for very much, but profiles are just basically a wing and a wing that are stuck together, right?
All the way through, yeah.
Right. So there's nothing to drag this way, or when you're in another angle to pull in an adverse way. That's why they fly so well. So then when you get on this airplane, the question is, how does it fly? And so the first thing I'll say is it has the throws and ailerons, elevator, rudder are so big that it will exceed anything that you ask it to do. So like if you're doing rolls, if you're doing knife edge, elevator, I didn't see you do an elevator with this thing, but it certainly has all the throws that you're going to want as a 3D pilot. So and I'll get Jason to talk on this in a minute. There is some coupling in this, and Jason was telling me about a knife edge solution that some users on RCGroups are using that I thought was interesting. In fact, let's talk about that. I'll probably have a picture.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you can knife edge it on your own, and you kind of want low rates on rudder just because it's so powerful and so effective, and you can put too much into it. But it is pretty badly coupled for knife edge flight. So I found out about this, but you could put it in safe mode, and everybody's like, I don't want to fly in safe mode. I'm an advanced pilot. I don't need safe, whatever. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. But here's what they did for safe mode on this airplane. They've increased the angle limits that it can roll to right about 90 degrees. So guess what that means? You can peg the aileron stick hard over and leave it there, and it's going to roll over to 90 degrees and
lock
in the knife edge. And so it makes it like super easy. I've got to turn safe mode on mine to try it out, but you can do that, and then anybody can knife edge, super easy. I mean, it just sounds like brilliant for people to do that and just be able to look like a really good pilot.
So you could just flip the switch and then throw it on its side, and there you are.
Yeah, there you go. I thought that was pretty neat.
So we have in the live chat, we're talking about wing rock, and let's see.
Yeah, mine wing rocks quite a bit in Harrier flight, in upright Harrier flight, and I can tone it down a little bit with flaps, but it's it doesn't Harrier the best compared to purpose built 3D planes, but it'll still do it.
Half flaps did tame it quite a bit.
It did, yeah.
Now I wonder if you put the slats on the wing, if that would tame it even more.
Well, slats make it less aerobatic. It really suffers in inverted flight. If you're into the 3D and aerobatic stuff with this, you don't want to put the slats on. Now, I'll tell you a couple of my favorite things to do. It hovers really well. It's super fun and easy, but it's not hands off. It's like you still have to work at it, which is great for building your skills. It's going to allow you to, get in the groove, and you're having to work at it to keep it in a hover, which is just, it's fun, and it makes you feel like you're actually doing it. You're not just watching the airplane hover by itself. You're actually making it do it. And then this thing blenders like a beast, and it upright flat spins amazingly well.
It's super flat. Now, we didn't get it to climb in a flat spin, which is something it's hard to get any plane to do that, but it was flat, like crazy flat.
Yeah, I was really impressed. Flat spins are awesome. And another one of my favorite maneuvers is the rolling harrier. This thing does really nice rolling harriers with the flaps combined with the ailerons. The roll rate's really impressive, and you can do some nice rolling harrier maneuvers with it.
And the other thing we did is there were some people there, and so we showed them the roll rate without the flaps coupled to the ailerons, and the roll rate with them coupled. And when they're coupled, man, it is a drill roll rate,
super fast. And then we did some stall takeoff and landings on the grass. I was able to bring it in with flaps down and nose high and kind of plop it on the grass, and then takeoff was just so fun. It just blast immediately into the air.
Landing and takeoff looked like VTOL. I mean, it was just like whoop, and then he wouldn't even roll out, man. He would hit the throttle, and then it would be off the ground.
Super fun. So I like the wheels. I like the suspension. I like just about everything about it except for that battery location. Now, it wasn't that bad. I had forgotten to bring my model stand. That would have been perfect. So what I ended up doing at the field, because I went through a bunch of batteries, was ended up just holding it in one hand, inverted, instead of setting it on the ground, and was able to, get a battery in and secure itself with one hand while I'm holding the model up in the air. And that wasn't so bad, but it's still not the most convenient thing in the world.
You also put it in your lap and did it, but I did note the prop was precariously
close. It is. That's why I have this little switch set up to throttle cut.
Right. So the throttle cut I thought was a brilliant idea.
Yeah, I don't need no props in the groins. We don't need that kind of thing.
And then you had your flap switch, and then you had your switch to couple the ailerons.
Yeah. Now, I think one day I'll probably change receivers and put an 8-channel receiver in it. Maybe all I need 7. I have an 8. Anyway, and then start doing some really funky crow, flap, crazy mixes. You can already do some things. I need to go ahead and set this up where you mix flaps to elevator. So when you want to pull, you can even do tighter like flips and stuff, and just play with that kind of stuff. And you can all have that on switches where you can turn them off and on, depending on your radio, obviously, I guess. But the DX9 is more than capable.
But an overall review here for this Hangout would be that it is super capable. It's you could train somebody on 3-cell. You could fly the teeth off of it on 4-cell. It's got tons of pull out. And even flat turns, like if you wanted to fly it like in the scout-like manner, flat turns need a little bit of correction. You can't just hit the rudder. You're going to have some other inputs going in there. But the flat turns were fun. Stall turns were fun. It's overall what you would hope it would be. It's all those things, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a blast. I kind of knew and hoped that it would be. That's why I got it. I was like, I'm not going to wait and see if this is a review. And I don't know. I'd be saying the same stuff even if it was a full-on review.
And it's $250-something for an airplane that you would want to fly every time you're at the field. It's a bargain, I think.
Yep. Now, I might try. I don't know how awesome that prop is. It does everything well. Plenty of power. It sounds smooth. It doesn't, it's not out of balance. I haven't balanced it, but it's not out of balance sounding anyway. But I think a lot of guys are switching to APC, so I might try an APC just to see if there's any discernible difference. But it might be a perfectly decent prop. I just haven't played around with it enough to tell a difference yet.
The great part about that is I would then go to RCGroups and find out what they've already figured out. If the APC is what size is the right size, because it's a heavier prop and it's probably gonna grab the wind. It's stiffer.
Yeah, E-Powered RC has 30 flights on his Timber X, and he says he loves it. So that's saying something. And what I think will be really cool is at some of these events, like Joe Nall or something, we get a bunch of guys with this on the field and fly them all together, you know, and start doing hovers and elevators and you know, just start flying formation, doing crazy stuff.
I was telling Jason, if I get one, I want to get the right paint and paint this red part or this green part red, so it'll be different.
We need to bring some measuring something. We need to set up a stall competition at a major event, like Seth or Joe Nall or something. Somebody needs to do this and actually record and see who can, you know, land in the shortest distance, take off in the shortest distance. I don't know how we'd have to research how they work those in the full-size planes, but that would be pretty fun to play around with.
Yeah. And then in a second, we're going to talk about the two airplanes Jason pitted against each other at the field that day. It was a beautiful day. This is also the day of the funeral for Bossa Bob, one of our mainstays at our field, who actually helped me build my first airplane. Jason, did you see the pictures of him as a Navy pilot in his Navy whites?
Yeah, man.
Really impressive. I mean, you see Bob, he's this old guy that hangs out at the field and helps everybody. But then when you see him being saluted by all these naval cadets. And so the truck was out there, the sun was shining. And so I thought, you know, I have a camera in my hands, man. So I snapped some photos of the C-10. And then Jason and I went to my favorite Mexican restaurant.
So we went to lunch. I've never had a thanks for that, E-Powered. I'll check out the Zors. I think I've got a couple of Zors actually. But I went with Jim to lunch. We rode in the truck, so I got to ride in it, and it's awesome. And I've never really owned any, you know, cool vehicles, just practical things or really old stuff or whatever. But so it was just like a really unique experience. We pull into the restaurant, he backs into the spot, and then like the owner and like some workers come out, and they're like eyeballing the truck and talking to Jim about it before we even, like, you know, get into the restaurant. There's people just piling all over this thing. I'm like, so that's what that's like.
Everywhere you go, even at stop signs, people stop and want to have a talk.
Yeah. Jim was like, at least I'm a talker, right?
Yeah, it's a good thing I like to talk to people. Plus, I sit here by myself most of the day. So Angela's always like, you need to get out because I don't want to talk to you this much. So this is a good thing for me, I think. Chris Jackson says, how could we get an RCGroups banner for our barn burner shootout at Pegasus Club in Hagerstown, Maryland? We can't do that, Chris. But what we can do is I want you to email me, jgraham, the letter J, Graham, at rcgroups.com. And you're going to send me all your information, and I'm going to work with you, and we're going to create an event feature article that we will then share on rcgroups.com and let everyone know about your event. And that is what we can do. So let's make that happen. Jason, did you pull up the reviews of the planes that we're going to do a shootout on?
Si, senor. All right. So we've all seen the V900 review right here. Now, if I switch to that, does it change? It does. Yeah, cool. All right. So the V900, and I've talked about, I need to take the V900 with the EF Extra from Hobby King out there because they're such similar airplanes, and fly them back to back and then see what I think, right? So you got a bind and fly for $179, $162. It may be cheaper now, I don't know, on the EF Extra, but very similar style. You know, they don't look the same necessarily, but they're both just kind of sport fast planes. So I used the same exact battery, and what I ended up using was a Pulse RC 1800 milliamp hour 65 or 75C, really strong, good packs, 4S, you know, batteries. And I flew the V900 first. Is that right? No, I flew the EF Extra first. So I flew the EF Extra, and the whole time I'm like, oh, this feels so good in the air. Now, my prop was out of balance. I had broken a prop and then put a new one on real quick and hadn't balanced it beforehand. So immediately when I throttled up, I could hear it vibrating. I was like, oh, crap, this thing's out of balance. So it was definitely robbing it of some speed a little bit. But the plane, super fast, incredibly well-mannered in the air for me. And it turns, like pylon turns, so fast. It's like I feel like I'm ripping the wings off the airplane, but they don't budge. So you can rock solid, you just bank at 90 degrees, yank on the elevator, and it whips around so fast. It almost feels like you're doing a whipping motion with the elevator stick. You're like, and crack. And it's just boom, and around that turn so fast. Rolls really fast. I think it's a little bit shorter wingspan than the V900. I love the EF Extra. All right, so I fly that, land it, and I'm like, okay, Jim, take note of that. Now we're going to fly the V900. And we go to the V900, and it instantly feels faster. It sounds a lot smoother. It's not vibrating because the props balance properly, all that stuff. And I heard Jim say, well, I already know. And so what were you thinking, Jim?
You could tell immediately as soon as it ripped across the sky. So what I did is I had him come down and level out and then fly the field. And I started counting. And then when you got to the end of the runway, I stopped. So when the what was the fast one? The fast one was a Horizon. Yeah. That thing, as soon as you took off, I immediately could tell that it was faster just by the way it sounded, and I was just watching it. But it was, with my count off test, I stood in the same place. It was 2 seconds or 2 counts faster.
Yeah.
So it was obvious to me.
So very scientific. That's probably 8.73 miles per hour difference. I have no idea. But I don't know. The V900, to me, it flies good. I don't want to down it, but it doesn't fly as good as the EF Extra to me as far as handling. The turns aren't as tight. They're not as crisp. The roll rate's just as good. Slows down probably better than the EF Extra, even though it slows down really well. But the V900 probably flies even slower at low throttle. But it just does, to me, it doesn't handle as well. It's a personal preference thing. You might ask 10 guys and you'll probably get 8 different answers of what they like better between the two back to back. I have to give it personally to the EF Extra on handling quality. That's just my opinion. I like them both. I'm keeping them both. They're both still fun to fly. So
the V900's faster.
Yep, V900's a little bit faster feeling. We don't have a radar gun. We need to get a radar gun, man.
Oh, man. You know who used to have a radar gun? Randy.
Randy, yeah.
He had a radar gun.
We need a radar gun because there's times like this where it'd be really cool to have an actual data point to talk about. But yeah, it is faster, and they both look great. I think the color scheme on the V900 is better.
And I think that's up to the pilot, because I like the red and black.
Yeah, right. This is my early review one was blue. You know what happened to this one? I took it to the CFL FPV event down in Florida, and that has, I think I talk about it, right? It's got the FPV pod that goes on it, just like that. You got a camera and your video transmitter, and so I had this FPV going 120 miles an hour, and I was racing a multiplex fun jet. Now, if you know anything about the multiplex fun jets, you know that they can easily exceed 160, 170 miles per hour. And this guy's more like 110 to 120. So I was well outgunned, except that I can turn tighter and quicker, and we were doing drag racing at the event. So we would launch at the same time. We'd go down to a specific tree, hit that tree point, turn around, and fly back. And then whoever reached the finish line first was the winner. So I got a great start. I was right on target. I went through and I did a just whip of a turn right on the mark. I passed him at that point because he took much longer to turn. And on our downwind leg coming back home, I saw him in my FPV feed pass me. And I'm like, crap. So I just started pushing down, down, down just to eke out as much speed as I could. And I ended up putting it in the ground. Like I just got so low that I ended up just catching, and it just exploded into a ball of foam and parts and things everywhere, which was amazingly awesome to see the aftermath of it. And people said it was awesome. I couldn't see. I was in the goggles. I just saw static and nothingness. But so that's how I ended up with the red and black one. Had to get that after this one destroyed itself.
This reminds me of a Bob story. when I first started flying, I remember I crashed and I was so upset. And all the members there, the peanut gallery as we call them, were all sitting there telling me what to do. The pull up, turn left, turn left, turn left, and I crashed this airplane, which wasn't made of foam. It was a balsa plane I spent so much time on, and I was mad. And I said, "I'm sorry, guys." And Bob goes, "Jim, don't you know we come here for the crashes?" Then I felt a lot better about it.
That's awesome.
So you got those two in the air, and I definitely have the Timber X on my short list. Jason and I were talking about it being an airplane that we could like once a week meet up at the field and just fly and become good at one airplane for the first time in the last 15 years.
Well, that would be cool. Happen anytime soon, because tonight it gets back down to 25 degrees, and now we're back to winter. But when's it spring, and now it's wintertime again.
Have you looked to see how long it's going to stay cold?
Well, I'm looking right now. Friday, the high is only 39. We get into Monday's 55, Tuesday 64, Wednesday 51. I'm happy with anything over 50.
Yeah.
I'm good to go.
Yeah, I'll take all that.
So, yeah, not too bad, not too bad. I'll be in Florida. I guess we won't have a podcast next week unless you get a guest or something. I'll be traveling to Florida next Thursday, heading down to the San Falasco DLG contest. We'll be covering that for RCGroups.
Is that Sam Falasco, like Joe Knoll?
It's it might be a person. Maybe it's an area. I'm not real sure on that.
Okay.
It's a good question. But it's a long-running contest. It's been around. It's always the first contest of the season. Starting out the year, all the guys come down. It's a pretty big event, and should be a lot of fun. Good 3 days of flying. It looks like the weather's going to be great, like mid-70s, mid to upper 70s, and as long as it holds, we'll have good sunny weather and be able to play. So awesome. I'm really looking forward to that. And it'll be the first time that I'm competing with the Tyrannus X-Lite radio on a DLG. So I got to practice a little bit last weekend. We had some really nice weather, and tune my DLG with that radio and get it dialed in, and I feel pretty good about it. So we'll see how it goes.
Awesome. Well, it's going to be standard procedure. We have a meeting tomorrow. We're going to talk about some of the issues we're having on RCGroups with the tech crew. So I'm looking forward to that. Are you looking forward to that, Jason?
Yeah, definitely. Anytime we can get some information about what's happening, it's a good thing.
And so we're always working to make things better, and we're things like that frustrate us. We were just saying that the other day at the field, that it's probably more frustrating for us than you. So just be aware that we're working on it as hard as we can, and we'll have Jason report back from his event. And other than that, we'll just be turning and burning and do what we do in RCGroups. Will be getting these blade stories up maybe tomorrow morning, first thing, and we'll make that happen. And that is it. I want to thank everyone on our live broadcast. I want to thank Jason for joining us and going to the field. Jason, what do you got to say?
Well, we've got a question from chat from Boone. He says, "Hey, Jim T, any more confirmation on your suspicion that there will be a Carbon Z biplane?"
I have not heard a peep. I don't even remember where I heard a fluttering of that. It certainly wasn't official in any way. Jason, have you heard any?
I have not heard anything that I can talk about.
I will tell you this: if somebody, this has not happened, but if somebody were officially to tell me something about it, then I would really not be talking about it, because if there's one thing I do, it's I keep secrets. And
even from me, Jim won't even tell me when something cool's happening that he knows about.
If somebody tells me a giant secret, like my company is joining with another company, I actually kept that a secret all the way until, I don't know, when Extreme Flight joined with 3D Hobby Shop, I kept that a secret. I had everything.
Yeah, until you needed to tell me that me and you had to go down there to get photos, video, and stuff, and talk about and get the story done before Joe Knoll.
Yeah. So I love a good secret. And also the trick here is if you can keep a secret, people will tell you the secrets.
Yeah, that's true.
So, no, there's nothing official on that. That's just a dream. But I got to say, man, with the airplanes coming out now, These are fulfilling my desires from Horizon, like the Bite that I just did the review on, and the Timber X. And so, would you have me wanting to spend my money before anyone says, "Hey," because somebody's going to have to review that plane at some point.
True.
But still, we're like, oh yeah, let's just go buy it. That's a great sign.
Yeah, that means a lot.
Oh, I got a box. Wow, did you see that?
Hey.
30,
What's in the box?
There's another box. Wow. This podcast is awesome.
Truck parts.
One is a Ring doorbell. The neighborhood's getting a little janky, I gotta say.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is. But I'm creating a Ring network in the neighborhood. I'm trying to get everyone in the neighborhood to join up, and then we can connect with each other, know what's going on.
How about that?
All right. Okay. Thanks to Hobby King, our sponsor of this dang show. I did go in, Jason. Now we're talking about stuff online that we should probably talk about offline. But I did go in to verify that MP3 uploads were supported and turned on. So, and they are.
Oh well, it wasn't that it was an MP3. It was that it was so big. So they've got the size limit increased for you now.
I tried to do that yesterday afternoon. It didn't work again.
Oh, it didn't work. So it's not turned on. Yeah. They haven't fixed that issue then about the size limit. Yeah.
Well, all that to say that there are MP3s standing by, and people actually request those. They're like, "Hey, where's my dang MP3s?" As late as yesterday at 4, I tried to get those going, and so that's on my list to talk about tomorrow. There's some Flying Giant stuff that I'm going to talk about tomorrow. So we're working hard. Thank you, Jason Cole. Thanks everyone in the live feed. We certainly appreciate y'all. And that is it. It's time to go back to work, I reckon.
Sounds good, man.
Simmer down now.
Peace out, y'all.
Bye-bye.